Okay, brilliant. So obviously, my name's Riya. I'm going to be doing a presentation about my graduate experience. I'm going to be walking around a lot, partially because I like walking around during presentations, and partially because I knew if I stood behind there, you'd probably not see most of me. So we're going to continue. Oh, got the little clicky. All right, so just really quickly, you're not going to notice a lot of text on the slides. I like the focused attention on me. Probably says a lot about me. So I've actually got a mechanical engineering degree background. I graduated in the year 2020, which everyone obviously remembers as being a very terrible time with COVID. A lot of uncertainty. Doing the exams from home was not a good experience. It was actually quite scary as well because our cohort was being told that you might not be able to get the best jobs at this time. A lot of grad schemes were closing on us, saying we're not taking any more graduates. So actually, when Network Rail's graduate scheme was still going on, I was actually really happy. I did start my journey with Network Rail, as mentioned previously, in September 2021 during the COVID period. And I did actually want to say that I didn't just get the railway, I didn't just enter Network Rail because it was a job that was there, though that was partially the reason. I do have a bit of an affinity towards railway, so I thought I'd delve a bit into that. So locally, I'm from Luton. It's a town that you guys probably know, just on the outskirts of London. When I was young, the railway or trains was just usually used as a form of going on a nice family trip or having a school trip. So a lot of my childhood memories were associated with really good things about the railway. It's always a trip to London, or we're going to the seaside in Brighton. As I grew older and I started my university journey, the railway actually became a means of, here? Sorry, Liam's just directing me to actually go here. Better? Okay, brilliant. Sorry, guys. So I probably will have to just stand here. So continuing onwards, the railway actually became a means of hiding away from my family. If you don't know much about Asian families, we don't have a big concept of privacy. So during my uni time, when I'm struggling with revision and I'm also doing part-time jobs, that 42-minute commute ride was the best time of my life on my train. I got to read a lot more. I got to catch up on some sleep because I was too busy staying up late doing assignments. I got to catch up on TV. So if anyone knows about Pavlov's theory, which actually tells us that human beings, when we associate positive memories, you actually feel a lot more comfortable in that environment. So when I saw the railway, I thought, you know what? I like the railway, I like trains, and there's one other memory that I thought I'd share with you, which kind of got unlocked during one of my maintenance placements out on a night on a shift, was when I was a kid. On our road, one night, we had a big blast, and over between Leagrave and Luton Station, a train went past, and actually it caught on fire, essentially. In my small town, not a lot of exciting things happened, so actually everyone came out to see this train that went on fire, and it was all a bit of a buzz. And little me, I don't even think I was barely 10, I was looking at the bridge, and I saw a bunch of people with reflective orange PPE with a nice tree backdrop and the lighting, and I thought, it'd be pretty cool. How cozy does that look? It'd be quite interesting if I could do that in the future. And actually, years down the line, when I was standing during my maintenance placement on a shift, I thought, wow, little me, imagine, she didn't realize, but she actually did end up in the railway and actually standing there in that orange reflective PPE in the exact same setting. So I think I spent too much on about me. Let's just continue with the actual graduate scheme itself and my journey. So we started our graduate journey at Westwood Coventry. I'm sure a lot of people have been there. This was actually quite a nice experience because, again, like I mentioned, COVID had taken a lot away from us. We didn't get to even say goodbye to a lot of our peers during the end of university. So this was a chance where a bunch of people got together in one hall. A lot of nerves, a lot of anxiety, but actually a lot of new starts and new beginnings. This was a really good week for us. We got to do various different training. We got to meet people from across the UK. I think it was just a really, really nice week to start off our career. I'm also going to be throwing out random questions. This is just the way my mind works. It'll be just absolutely random. But just as a starter, if you can see the picture right on the right, to be fair, I'll just enlarge it here. This is the first quiz. So this is just a bit of a starter. What is the name of the fish in the picture? So I probably should, is if the QR code is actually up and if you guys are on Slido. A, is it carp? B, is it koi? C, is it nishikigoi? Or the last option was actually, this is a trick question. So this is actually at Westwood, as we used to walk on the pathway. I took a picture of this fish. A lot of people said koi, a lot says nishikigoi. Okay, so it's still merging, a lot of people saying koi. There was another option, there was supposed to be carp there. I don't know where it's gone now. Okay, so actually, the answer is this is a trick question because it is a carp, type of carp fish, which is known as the koi. The Japanese word for carp is koi, and it's Japan's national fish as well, which is nishikigoi. So it's basically a trick question. They're all the same thing, one and the same. So just thought I'd throw that in. Okay. So just a bit of a breakdown of how the actual graduate scheme works. We are here for 2 years. It's 6 months rotation and placements, the first of which is known as business familiarization, kind of integrating us into the company, throwing us in different various teams, just kind of getting our bearings. Followed by 6 months maintenance placement, followed by 6 months asset management placement, and then finally a projects placement, which I will delve into a bit more detail soon. But first and foremost, okay, so business familiarization. The way it worked is the first half, 3 months, we had short-term engineering placements and then 3 months self-organized placements. This included training courses, e-learning, getting our PTS, first aid, manual handling. We actually did a lot of site visits, did a lot of STEM activities. I became an early engagement rep as well as a STEM ambassador, which meant I went into school to promote railway, promote STEM, promote science, in particular for females. So hopefully, we're hoping a lot more females will come into the industry and actually make our environment a lot more inclusive. Have different colors, have different nationalities, have various people from across the spectrum to actually bring our knowledge and asset and skill set. So if you can see actually a lot of the images over here, it was actually a really nice week after Westwood. One of our first trips was in King's Cross Station, where one of the managers at the station was telling us about all the heritage. One of the best parts for me was seeing the actual historical parts were still part of the railway. So you've got the modern building, and then you've got, when the station opened, brackets just above the ticket station, which is actually really amazing. We also went to York Railway Museum, where we got to appreciate how York is actually a big base for when the railway first began. I kind of put smiley faces in some of the pictures there, because obviously there were people in there, but we did a voluntary heritage railway site. Picture over there, where 3 gents are there. Those are my fellow graduates. We actually got stuck in Manchester during one of our regional engineering meetings when there was a storm, if anyone remembers, back in February 2022. We got stuck there for the rest of the weekend because of the storms, and one of my fellow graduates didn't have underwear the next day, so we went through a half an hour through Manchester City looking for the closest Primark. He did eventually find it, so that's just over there. We also went to Portsbrook to actually see the hydrogen trains, just to see the new trains that are being commissioned, and again, with the whole sustainability and how do we look for new technology, how are we going to integrate different things in the railway. That was an interesting experience. One of the things that I found really cool was that the tables and the chairs inside of the hydrogen trains are actually made up of recycled material. So that's just a step forward, in my opinion. I think another quiz is coming up. Okay, so what year did King's Cross Station open? I know some of the gents in the PWI member might have been there when it did open, so no cheating, gents. This is for the rest of you. Oh, unanimous. But yeah, it was 1852. Oh, I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. 1852, that is the correct answer. Next one. Where am I? If anyone's ever actually done a Where's Wally before, usually I find that when I'm in a picture, so this is in York Railway Museum, I sort of get hidden. So I didn't let you guys have too much time looking at that picture. Can you guess where I was? I usually get hidden in pictures. I think most of you have spotted me by now. Yep, I'm on the bridge over the train. There I am. Okay, next question. What was the name of the storm that hit the UK in February 2022? If you recall, this was where me and my fellow graduates were stuck in Manchester City looking for underwear. Oh, sorry. Did I not show the question? Ah, too much, too much, too much. What's happening, Liam? There we go. Sorry, guys. So is it Storm Eunice, Storm Dudley, Storm Franklin, all of the above? Which storm was it? So yeah, Storm Eunice was the major storm that actually hit in February 2022. Actually, just a point of note, Storm Franklin and Storm Dudley were also around at the same time, but the major one that the UK was banging on about was obviously Eunice. Okay, next slide. Okay, so just a bit more about what I actually did during my 6 months placements in these various teams. The first one was 6 months track placement, and here I did a various number of night shifts, day shifts, mostly going out with the tech team. A lot of the big thing in the industry at the time was the stressing that we had to do because of the summer period, and obviously we know that temperatures reached a record-breaking high at the time because of all the buckling faults. I also spent a heavy amount of time on an adjustment switch project where I took way too long on, but it was trying to figure out some of the adjustment switches that we have on our network, what's there, what isn't, what's been removed, going on the stress register, seeing any discrepancies, making a note of what actually doesn't make sense. So I spent quite a while on there, and I obviously did a few pure PR diagrams, which I'm sure a lot of you probably did in your time. The 6 months track RAM placement was the one that I did next with the route engineering team. Both teams are actually sitting here in the audience, so should be careful what I say. I spent a lot of time on longitudinal bearer systems. This included the management plans, actually finding all the plans that we have in our SharePoint, organizing them by TME, finding what was missing. It actually involved talking to a lot of examiners, SMs, TMEs, getting together all of these groups of people to actually work on a management plan document. I then moved on to strategy documents. So as part of ISO 55001, which is obviously the asset management strategy we're trying to get certified, we made a bunch of strategy documents when we're actually still working on them to find out what's the strategy going to be regarding the assets that we have. In particular, obviously, because I was working with longitudinal timbers, I did a big work, it's actually probably at 40 pages now, on longitudinal bearer systems. But essentially, a lot of this included just general information about the asset. What do we actually know about the asset? What is the asset? I did a lot of age profile diagrams for these assets. What's missing and what do we do to actually find that missing information? I also took part in the PWI text factor. So if anybody's actually interested, there's a recording out there where I spoke in depth about this actual Will Timber plan. So I said it before, when I was doing this actual task, I spent so long on bridges, I felt like I was on a bridge and I was just trying to get over it. So that's where we are, and I'm currently now on my 6 months projects placement. So I've just begun, to be honest with you, with the graduates. When you first start a placement, a lot of it is standards, heavy, getting your programs ready, speaking to various teams, going out on site works, on-site visits, so not much to say about that just yet. Okay, so I mentioned previously that we obviously had a record-breaking temperature. So in July 2022, the UK hit a record-breaking temperature of, is it 40.3, 40.2, 40.1, or 40.0? Yep, so 40.3 was the record-breaking temperature that we hit. Next, what does FFU stand for? So this was actually, when we were working with longitudinal timbers, we were looking at various composite timbers that we can use. FFU is one that popped up a lot. I was curious as to how many people knew what it actually stands for. Oh, unanimous again. But I'm not going to say anything just yet because I did that too soon last time. Yep, fiber reinforced from urethane. Okay. So I kind of finished a bit quite early, but final thoughts and comments. I feel like the graduate scheme is actually very supportive to young engineers. All the teams that I've been in, from host managers to line managers, everyone's been extremely supportive. A lot of people that I speak to, even if it's just for work related, they tend to then ask me afterwards, what's kind of your future aspirations? What do you want to do? So a lot of our colleagues actually do support young engineers. They're really interested in what I want to do in the future. My own personal experience is that I've been really well looked after. I come from an ethnic background. I'm Muslim. A lot of people ask me, do you have any dietary requirements? Is there anything that we can do to help you in prayer when the month of Ramadan happens and you're fasting? Is there anything that we can do to help you? So I feel genuinely really supported. I mean, big up to the Anglia route, who everyone that I've met there have genuinely been really supportive and helpful. So just to end it, I think we actually need to encourage more young engineers. You'd be surprised when I went on a lot of school trips and university talks. Most of the youth think that in Network Rail, the engineers design trains, which is really not what we do. So I think we really need to rethink how we're promoting the graduate scheme and the railway in general, because there's a lot of intelligent youth out there that need to know that we need more of you in here. And it's not just, we're not designing trains. So that's my final thoughts and comments.